My name is Ghada Ezzeldin. I was born in Cairo, Egypt.
Okay.
So I was born in Cairo, in Egypt, and my parents are university professors in the Faculty of Pharmacy. My father is a professor of pharmacology, my mother is a professor of biochemistry, and they've been doing pioneer research work in Sweden and in the UK. So I had a chance to go with them there. This was a very long time ago. And also my grandparents were university presidents, so the whole family is more into the academic field. I decided to do something completely different. I went into business administration. This was my major. I minored in economics at the American University in Cairo. And I graduated almost 20 years ago. And since then, I'm working in the same company in different functions. I did several changes within the company, but that was my only job experience. I don't have brothers and sisters, it's only me. I got married in December 2002, and I have one son, Mustafa. He's now 4.5 years old. And I would love that he has many brothers and sisters. I don't know if this is possible, but I think it's quite important because growing up on your own, I think is not something nice. It's much nicer to have siblings, and especially as you become older and you have more responsibilities with the parents and so on, it's a good thing not to be on your own. So I hope that this can happen one day for my son.
More people to take care of you.
Yes, yes.
Let me just start off by asking you a very generic question. It's not on the list, so you couldn't have prepared for it. Which is just, what is it for you? What does it even mean to have faith? What does that even mean for you?
Yeah, I think for me, faith is the most important thing in life. And I think if I did not have strong faith, I wouldn't have been able to survive a lot of tough situations and frustrations, I mean, throughout life. So for me, it's very, very important, and that's something that I'm very grateful for, because I think I'm fortunate to have this understanding and faith in God and this spiritual relationship, which many people are not even aware of it. Many people, they come to the world, they live and die, and they're only into the materialistic world and, you know, the day-to-day activities, and have nothing to do with any sort of spiritual connection. So I think this is a real blessing. It gives me a lot of strength, and it gives me a lot of inner happiness as well.
So I'm assuming you're Muslim. You are?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes.
So what is, again, this project's not about theology, right?
Yes.
You can look up theology.
Yes.
But let me ask you from a personal point of view, more than a theological point of view, what is your idea of God? What or who is Allah?
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. Let me maybe go back and tell you how, you know, I came to this feeling or about the idea of God. I grew up in a Muslim family. You know, I saw my parents, I mean, practicing, I mean, the basic stuff of religion, like praying and fasting. So this was not really the strong influence that I had. But I became interested. I read a lot. I spoke to people who were experts in religion, and I was mostly attracted to people who are not fanatic. So people who talk about, you know, the wrongs and the do's and don'ts, and, you know, going to hell, and if you don't do this, you don't go to heaven. I don't like this way. I like to think of, you know, religion as something that relates more to, you know, your feelings of compassion and love and, you know, the good things inside you, rather than, you know, what you need to do and what you need not to do. And accordingly, I think my feeling or concept about God, I mean, it became stronger probably through reading the Quran, because it's very, very powerful. I mean, it's just one small book, but there is something in it that is beyond the words and the meanings. And at the same time, the thing that made me very much connected probably to God, I mean, through the Quran, is that I felt that the real religion of Islam really values diversity, and there's a lot of mercy and love and care. And you know, maybe a lot of people don't know that there's one full chapter in the Quran about Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. And the whole chapter talks about Mary and about Jesus. And there's a lot of stories about other prophets. And even in the Muslim world, people use names when they name their children that have an origin in Christianity or even Jewish names. So we have the Arabic equivalent of Mary, Jesus, Jacob, and we really value these people when we name our children after them. So this is something that was very much in touch with my values, because I feel very good in truly embracing diversity, not judging people by anything, you know, by the religion, nationality, the way they look, even the things they do. So sometimes when people do wrong things, I don't say, you know, this is bad and I'm good. No, people could be victims of certain situations they've been through. And this feeling of, you know, love and compassion, this is what's making me connected to Islam, Quran, and God. And back to your question about the concept of God, I don't have a visual concept of, you know, how God looks, but I have a very strong, I would call it spiritual feeling of that God is, you know, love, compassion, caring, giving us more than what we deserve. And it's not only a feeling, it's proven to me throughout my life. So the best things that happened to me in life were things that were granted from God, and not necessarily because of certain actions or certain efforts that I've done. And this is in everywhere, in my business life, in my career, in my personal life. I was really lucky and blessed by, you know, directly receiving things from God. Whether it's, you know, certain good events happening to me, getting to know great people, things that would happen by coincidence, but you feel that, you know, there's a message and a plan behind it.
What are you most grateful for?
I think everything I have. But if there was one thing I would pick, or let me pick two. My son, of course, he's really the best thing that ever happened to me in life. He's a lovely, adorable boy. And the other thing that I'm grateful for is being lucky to be on the right track. I would call it the right track or path to God. I know it's a very long journey, and I'm sure I have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to learn, and a lot of things to develop in myself. But at least I have the strong feeling that I know where I'm going. I understand the concept of God, and I think my spiritual energy is strong enough, and I think this is the best thing. And I did not make this happen. You know, I did not put an effort into that. I mean, it just happened to me, and I know that other people are not in this situation, and probably they suffer a lot in life because of not being there and not knowing where to go. And the suffering can either be psychological or even sometimes physiological. No, the strange thing is that the questions came as I grew older. So when I was a child, I was, easily accepting things. I started to question things when I got older. But I never questioned, does God exist or not? Or the prophets or the angels. I mean, the things that I believe in, I always believed in. But I think the thing that is still causing me trouble is the concept of death. As I want to understand it, and I'm not able to understand it. Why do we come and go, and where do we go? And did we exist before? So these things, some people don't even bother to think about it, but lately I'm really obsessed with that. And it causes me a lot of pain when I lose someone dear to me to death. And over the last 2 years, this happened, with my grandmother and 2 of my friends. And it causes me a lot of sadness because I don't understand, where are they? Are they in a good situation or not? I'm trying to read more, and I'm trying to ask God to help me more understand this, because this is the biggest question. But I would say it has nothing to do with faith. It's more of, the mental need to understand something that is very complex.
What have been some of the important experiences in your life that grew your faith?
Yeah. There's one very important experience. I met my husband at the age of 34, and as of the age of 21, I was very much interested in getting married and having a family. I was always dreaming of having 6 kids, and strangely enough, I was also dreaming of not working. And this journey of finding the right person was not easy. So it had lots of frustrations, lots of ups and downs, hopes and frustrations. And it was not easy, and especially in our culture, where there's a lot of pressure to marry at an early age, like, between around maybe 20, 22. If you're 25, you're already, labeled as a spinster, or there's something wrong with you. So you can imagine, the pressures that I've been through from family and friends and so on. But I did not want to give up, and I had a lot of opportunities. I did not want to get married just for the sake of, getting married and getting the social acceptance from the society. So I was looking for, someone very special. And this journey of search was very painful to me. Then as I became older and I got into the 30s, people started to tell me, you may not have children because it becomes more difficult with age and so on. So it was quite painful. But then the very strong thing that happened to me, I remember that it was the second week of December in 2001. I was in the Holy Land in Saudi Arabia, and I was inside the Holy Mosque in Mecca, and I was praying to God, to help me, find the right person and so on. But then at a certain moment, I felt that, in a way, I surrendered my personal will to God's will. And at this exact moment, it was different, because before that I was praying and asking God, to help me find the right person. But at this point in time, I felt that, I have no power, no matter what I want to do in terms of, planning and thinking and trying to make things happen. If I don't give my will to God's will, it will not happen. And this thing gave me a lot of strength, and it moved me spiritually very much. And 2 weeks later, I met my husband, and 1 year later, we got married. But I still remember this moment in Mecca. I was in the second floor of the mosque, looking at the Kaaba down, and I was praying, and I got this strong feeling of, really, it's all God's will. And then after that, I realized this in life. You have to do your effort and you have to do everything, but at the end of the day, 90% of what happens to you, or even more, is because of God's will. And this got me into another area that is also linked to faith, the strong belief in karma. And for me it was good karma. Like, the good things that I've done throughout my life come back to me. They can come back to me years later, and in some cases they come back to me in the same day and in the same form. So this made me feel very strongly about, if you do the right thing and if you do the good thing, you don't need to worry about the future, because God will take care of you, and good things will come back to you. Mm. I think it's been throughout, and it's like ups and downs. I mean, faith is always there, so I never, I never doubted my belief in God at any stage. But what causes me, I can call it turbulence of my faith, is the concept of death. So in a way, I think I'm obsessed with this concept. So it always comes to me, thinking about, what happens if I die? What will happen to me? How would the people react? What will happen if the people who are close to me die? And then the people who already died, where did they go? So this makes me feel, I wouldn't call it faith, but there's something missing that I need to understand, that I'm not understanding. And I'm very keen to know what it is. I don't know, this may sound, I think, naive, or even hearing myself now, if I heard this from a person 5 years ago, I would say, why are you worrying about this stuff? And this is really silly. But now it's a big obsession for me. So this would be like the big question mark that I'm uncomfortable with, and I want to understand.
You said you lost 2 friends and your grandmother this year?
Yes, in 1 year.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Is there somebody in your life that you admire for their faith?
Yes, my husband.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amr, AMR.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I always thought that I have strong faith, but I think, he's the person I met who has the strongest ever faith. So, for example, in any problem, in any issue, he always says that he's very grateful to all what God has given him, and he believes that God has given him more than what he expected, more than what he deserves, and he's not worried at all about anything related to the future. He's quite the opposite to me. So worrying about death, about what's going to happen next, about career, about the next step, he's not at all. This faith that, if you do good things, God will take care of you and you don't need to worry. And already, we have a lot of great things that we need to be grateful for. So he's very grateful and very thankful. And he's better than me in practicing the rituals of religion, the fasting, the praying. He's more committed to do it, regularly than me.
What have you taught your son about God?
That's really nice. I talked about very basic stuff that he can understand, because I was speaking to a child psychologist, and she told me that the concept of God is not fully understood before the age of 13. So the talking is about God created us, God is helping us, God loves us, but things that are very general. And he asks very interesting questions like, is God a man or a woman? How does he look like? Why does he see us but we don't see him? Now, I find the questions very interesting, because I think I never asked those questions when I was a child.
Somebody I interviewed this week said that her mother used to say that God was up there, so she thought God was the ceiling. For many years, she thought the ceiling was God. But then one day she realized there's ceilings everywhere.
Yeah. That's interesting, because my son was asking this question. Is God up in the sky? So I told him something, but it's very difficult to comprehend. That God is with us, He's everywhere, but we cannot, see His form or visualize how He looks like, but He's everywhere. He's not up or down. And
what's your greatest wish?
I have a personal one and a general one. Which one should I start with? Maybe the general one is, every day when I see the news on TV and I read about people fighting and wars and killing each other and crimes and all this violence, I dream of the day where, there's full peace in the whole world. A day where people really come to the very basic and simple understanding that we're all coming from one father, one mother, and we all have one same God. So why create these, differences and conflicts over things that are purely materialistic and are not even going to last? Because the minute we die, we will not take with us anything that we're fighting and killing each other on. So I hope I can see this day where, there's complete peace and love, and people deal with each other as human beings and with all the mercy and compassion that God wants. So this is the general one. The personal one, I'd love to, this is very difficult, My dream of 6 children, I think it's quite a stretch, but at least, I'd love to have 1 or 2 more.
Inshallah.
I hope so. I hope so.
When people see the portrait we're going to make of you, what do you want them to know about you? I'll say I was in Cairo, this is Ghada, and
that's a very difficult one. The general stuff, and then the general stuff, like Ghada, Muslim, Egyptian, and about me, myself. I think I'm blessed with the ability to combine both the spiritual and the materialistic world. So in terms of the materialistic world, I mean, if you look at my life, my career, the way I talk with people, the way I dress, I mean, I'm living life. And at the same time, the other side, the connection with God and the spiritual thinking and the readings I do, and this combination of things that are contradicting, I think it's quite rich. And you can do both. I mean, you don't have to be either or. And you can be connected to God. I mean, you don't have to be sitting in a mosque or a church. I mean, you can do it through, working in the normal life, doing a normal job, dressed like other people. You don't have to be dressed differently. I mean, just by being yourself, you can do everything, the combination.
And do you have a message?
Yes, I think the message is coming from my own personal experience. The message of believing in God's will doing, you know, what you're supposed to do, and then letting go and letting God direct you and, you know, open up doors of opportunity for you. I think this is a blessing if people can realize this and work on it. And also the message of the good karma. If you do good things, they will come back to you in different ways and forms. You don't need to worry about the future, and really faith is the strongest thing that can make you strong.
When you lived in Brussels, what was that like in terms of where your faith was there?
Yeah, I think that it was a great experience. I think that's the best ever question. It's really great. It's great to live on your own for some time, because really the faith and the spiritual pathing and all that thinking comes from being alone, you know, thinking, reading. If you're all the time surrounded with people and busy with activities and people, it will not be that easy. So I think it was the first time for me in Brussels to live on my own without the family. So I lived in an apartment on my own. I had time, you know, to think and to read. So I think this helped set the stage. I think it was a very important point in my life. Until now, I benefit a lot from being on my own. Although I think I'm quite sociable and I like people, but you know, when I want to think or read, I prefer to be on my own. Yes, I want to share something that I decided to do recently. You know, at this point in time in my career, I have a great assignment. I'm working with great people, and you know, I'm doing very well. Actually, I had my performance review last week and it was my best ever. But you know, given all that and the temptation of the career and so on, I decided to take a 1-year leave of absence as of February. And you know, a lot of people who don't know me very closely are very surprised, because I come across as someone who's very passionate about the career and very attached to the company. So you know, taking a 1-year leave of absence, even when the announcement went out last week, some people sent me emails, you know, do you have health problems? I mean, they thought, you know, I have something serious, and you know, that's why I'm leaving. And basically, I mean, simply I felt that I need to take time off to focus more on my family, and I'm talking about the whole family. So my son, my husband, my parents who are getting older, I want to give them some time and attention, and at the same time I need to be in an environment that is less stressful with the work and the travel and all that stuff. I want to take care of my well-being more, and I want to be in a better situation to allow me to have another child. So I felt this compelling reason of taking this break, and it was very difficult to do it, because it's very difficult to let go of something great, and you know, you don't know what's going to happen next. And you know, I plan to go away for 1 year. When I come back, I don't know what are the opportunities. I may not find the same great assignment. It could be something else, but it's, you know, it's part of letting go. And I think it's the right decision, and I think that God will reward me for that in a way or another.
Thanks for sharing that.
So,
Thank you very much.
thanks to you. Thank you.